Hello folks, welcome back. In this video, we are going to discuss the findElements method. So about time, because we've been using it a few times throughout this course, okay? Today, we finally get to talk about it. Okay, so findElements. The findElements method is used to locate multiple web elements on a web page based on a specified locator, such as XPath, CSS selector, class name, and so on. Okay, so it's pretty much used to locate elements of the same type that share a common locator. findElements returns a list of web elements. Okay, an interesting fact is that if an incorrect locator is used, okay, Selenium will not throw an exception. Instead, it will just return an empty list of web elements. Don't confuse this with the findElement method, where when you use an incorrect locator, Selenium will throw an exception such as a no such element exception. Okay, so let's see how this works. Let's jump over to VS Code here. I created a class called findElements, and inside the main method, I'm reusing code that we've used in the previous videos that just navigates to the practice side. And then on line 24, what I'm doing is I'm using the findElements method, and I'm locating all elements that start with tag name A. If you remember, elements that start with tag name A are links on a web page. Every single link on a web page starts with tag name A. So I'm assigning this to variable links of type of list of web elements. Okay, if I hover over the findElements method here, you see the return type is a list of web elements here. Okay, so on line 26, what I'm doing is I'm printing out the number of links on the web page. What this code's actually doing, folks, is it's printing the number of elements in this list. That's what the dot size method does. Okay, don't confuse this with an array where you would have to use the dot length property. Okay, real quick though, let's go to the practice side here. We do have a lot of links on this web page. I'll scroll down to the bottom because here we have a good number of links, and I'm going to go ahead and inspect, for example, this dummy content for testing here, and you see that the tag name starts with tag name A. Okay, the tag name starts with A, so that's an indicator that that is a link. And then here we see href, which stands for hypertext reference, and then here we see the value as to where this hyperlink would take us when we click on this. Okay, so keep that in mind. And there are different type of scenarios that we'll talk about in just a moment or later on in the video. For example, how to identify if links are broken. Okay, that's a popular interview question that we will discuss in the later videos. But for this video, for now, for this program, what I want to do is I want to run this program, and I want to print the number of links on this web page, okay, or the number of elements in this list using the dot size method. Okay, and then here I'm just sleeping the program for 2 seconds, and then I'm just killing the driver here. Let's go ahead and run this program. Okay, and let's see what we get. So the browser opens, and then driver.quit happens, and then we see 34. So at the time of this video, there are 34 links on a web page. So let's move over to line 29 through 32. Here I wrote a for each loop that basically prints the text of all those links. Okay, and what I'm doing inside the for each loop, I'm using the web element here, the link, and I'm getting the text of that element, assigning it to link text of type string, because the getText method returns a string, so I can do that. Okay, and then I'm just printing out the text of that element. Okay, so what I expect to see once we run this is I expect to see the number of links on the web page print, and then also the number or the text of all the elements or all those links that we are interacting with. Okay, so the browser opens, and then driver.quit happens. So you see here in the debug console, your Visual Studio Code may look a bit different. Okay, we do see the number of links here, but then we see the text of all the links on the web page. Now we do have 34 links, and if you count these, they will all add up to 34. You'll see some that say 3, 6, 2, 3, 4. So VS Code does this when there's duplicates of the same text in this console here. You can go ahead and adjust this setting or change this setting, but if you're using IntelliJ, you'll definitely see the text of all the links display without this 3 or 6 and 2 and so on. Okay, so this is a popular interview question, again, where someone can ask you to share your screen and write a program that retrieves the number of links on a web page. And if you do well with that part, then they'll move forward and they'll probably ask you to get the text of all those links and so on. And there are other scenarios we can test later. For example, how to verify if there are any broken links on a web page, meaning that if you click on a hyperlink, you don't get prompted anywhere. Okay, sometimes that can happen. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, back to the very interesting fact that you should know. What happens if we try to use an incorrect locator? So I'm going to go ahead and comment this out. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and comment 26 out just so that we can shift our focus to line 24. Actually, no, I'll go ahead and uncomment line 26 out real quick. And instead, what I'll do here, okay, I'm going to locate the element with tag name. Let's change it to AAAA, okay? At this point, we know that there is no element on the web page that begins with tag name AAAA, okay? So let's see what happens, okay? And then here on line 26, we're just printing the number of elements of this list, okay? So let's see what happens. So the browser opens, okay? And then driver.quit works. Okay, so what happens? Did we get an exception? No, we did not. Okay, and that's the thing about the findElements method. If you use an incorrect locator, you will not encounter an exception, unlike the findElement method, where you'll probably get a no such element exception. But why do we see 0 here? Okay, because we are printing the number of elements in this list. Because this didn't work, there were no elements to store in this list, so the default value is 0. Okay, so that's why. Okay, so that's the most interesting fact about findElements, and that's actually a very popular interview topic where they will ask you, what is the difference between findElement and findElements? Okay, findElement is used to locate one web element, and the return type is web element. Okay, if you use the incorrect locator, you will encounter a no such element exception. findElements is used to retrieve a list of web elements or locate elements, multiple elements of the same type that share the common locator. Okay, and if you use an incorrect locator, Selenium will not throw an exception. Instead, you will get an empty list.